And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Maritime Matters. Whether you're listening via radio wave or 97.5 FM, via internet on the app TuneIn Radio, or via cable Bahamas, channel 951, or BTC Flow TV, channel 606. We appreciate you, and we humbly welcome you to our show. We now encourage you to check out our YouTube page, Maritime Matters Bahamas. Here you can listen to all of our previous shows at your own leisure. So feel free to hit us up on YouTube, Maritime Matters Bahamas. Pleasant good evening. I am Captain Glenn Bain. This is show number 19, people. And this is no longer the month of May. In that vein, I wish to thank all of those that assisted in getting the story of the attack on the HMBS Flamingo to the people. Of course, next year, May, is going to be here in due course. In that regard, we would want to know that appropriate reparations was duly paid to the men that suffered that atrocious attack, and of course, to the family of those that are no longer amongst us. Our show tonight centers on the maritime matter, yacht chartering. To shed light on this also timely topic is quite an experienced yacht and marina guru. So steady on that course there, folks, and join us on this engaging and likely controversial Maritime Matters discussion. Our sponsors for tonight, One-on-One Pharmacy. Listen, people, you know the deal. My good cousin Shantia Hill McBride and her lovely team at One-on-One Pharmacy fill the prescription on time. That should be prescription, right, Shani? Yeah, she said, yeah. Fill the prescription on time. And even if you can't get to the store on a timely manner, you can put in your prescription via oneononepharmacy.com. They have two locations, East Street South and Charles Sanders Highway. When you walk in the door, you'll be treated with royalty. You see all that stuff they had, but royal presentations over the weekend with the Jubilee, and we can talk about that a little bit more. Of course, while you at One-on-One Pharmacy, seek out my good cousin Stephanie and let her and all of those beautiful folks know that Maritime Matters sent you. We are also sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection. Yes, we provide a full slate of ISPS maritime security services and that one over. So we are thirdly sponsored by Totally Secured Security and Investigations Services. They are headquartered in 8 Mile Rock, Grand Bahama. For all your security guard duties or security investigation needs, please give my good friend, Andrew Stirrup, a call at 819-8944. He and his certified security team will see you straight. That's Totally Secured Security. Phone 819-8944. Hit up Andrew Stirrup. To the listening audience out there, it will be remiss of me to go any further, not introduce my wonderful producer. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the insatiable, the man of the hour, and the man with all the power, the man on all the controls tonight, Craig Gibson. Thank you very much, Craig, and he's hailing the crowd. You're listening to Maritime Matters, people. On this show, we talk maritime. Maritime Matters airs weekly at 19:30 at 7:30 p.m. every Tuesday here on Love 97 FM. The purpose of this show, to highlight persons that made significant contributions to the maritime in the Bahamas and to sensitize Bahamians of opportunities in the maritime sector. Halfway through the show, we will open the phone lines. The number to call will be 326-8255. That's 326-8255. And I want to remind us about our maritime heroes from the past. They all passed away, gone but not forgotten. May their souls continue to rest in peace. HMBS Flamingo champion skipper, senior commander Amos Roll. Port controller extraordinaire from back in the day, Mr. Leon Flowers. Sloop sailing pioneer, champion, the legendary Raleigh Gray, and of course, Olympic sailing champions, Sir Dermot Knowles and Cecil Cook. They are our maritime heroes, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we got another whole heap of heroes from that HMBS Flamingo incident. Current matters in maritime. Commander-in-Chief. What is the role of a commander-in-chief? A commander-in-chief, according to Google, is authorized to direct the movements of the naval and military forces placed by law at his command, and to employ them in the manner he may deem most effectual to harass and conquer and subdue the enemy. That's some serious stuff. I read that again. Commander-in-Chief is authorized to direct the movements of the naval and military forces placed by law at his command, and to employ them in the manner he or she may deem most effectual to harass, to conquer, and to subdue the enemy. So why are we talking about Commander-in-Chief? Because most countries have a Commander-in-Chief. Commander-in-Chief for the U.S., as we know, Bill Clinton always told us, George Bush II always told us, Barack Obama always told us, Donald Trump always told us, and now we're hearing it from Joe Biden. I am Commander-in-Chief. The Commander-in-Chief have control over all the military of that country. So I say that to ask the question, who is the Commander-in-Chief for the Bahamas? Is it the Prime Minister? Is it the Minister of National Security? Is it the Attorney General? The Commander of the Defense Force, Commissioner of Police? Who is it? I'd say to you that it is none of the above. Not one of those. And you don't have to believe me, Google it. Our Commander-in-Chief for the Bahamas is Queen Elizabeth II. That's not up for argument, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. And as we know, after 25 years of being the Queen for the Commonwealth, the Queen celebrated her Silver Jubilee at 25 years. 25 years later, the Queen celebrated her Golden Jubilee. So what then should platinum be? Should it be 25 years later to make 75 years? That's what I would have thought. But it's not. So why are they calling it platinum at 70 years and not 75 years? Well, how old is she now? The Queen is 96 years old. So if the Queen waits for another 5 years, the Queen will be 101 years old. Question. Will she make it? Maybe not. So let's bring it forward by 5 years just to be able to say that she made it to her platinum jubilee. Is that not cheating? But you know what? The song says, drink water and mind your business. I am not going to get in the British people's business. But that's our Commander-in-Chief. And we need to maintain awareness of who is our Commander-in-Chief. So the news over the weekend was all about the Platinum Jubilee. Such a grand occasion, eh? What else is in current matters in maritime? Ukraine. The Russian invasion continues. The Donbass region, that's Luhansk and Donetsk, are now fully under Russian control. And as we always knew, it was only a matter of time because they had 75% Russians already in there. The port city of Mariupol, is now fully under Russian control. Yeah, they had a big fight. It wasn't easy. But, like I always tell you, Russia's going to be in charge at the end of the day, and they're going to piece by piece take over Ukraine and put who they want in place, and it's going to be all Russian controlled. The Crimean Peninsula remain under Russian control. So the next target, I would say, would be the northeast city of Kharkiv. I think they already attempted to go in Kharkiv, and they decided to wait a while, take over some more territory, but they go into Kharkiv. And eventually they're going to go back to Kiev. Russia will gradually place the entire Ukraine under subjection. It's just a matter of time. We're talking maritime, people. You're listening to Maritime Matters. At this point, we move to our first break. And when we return, we will engage tonight's most special guest. Please, stay tuned. And welcome back to Maritime Matters. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I am pleased to introduce tonight's guest. He is a city boy just like me, all the way from Nassau. This cat, ladies and gentlemen, is quite the achiever. Yes, it's a brother that in the face of diversity rallied the troops to make it happen during the pandemic. As the yachts showed up, they were able to facilitate each and every one of them, even amidst the lockdowns, the panic, the mask wearing, all the injections, all the tests. So in fine fashion, he traversed the mountaintop, wrestled down the booted dean, and chewed on the beetle nut. So brace yourself for quite an interesting and very engaging maritime discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a friend from way back in the day, Mr. Peter MAURY. Welcome to Maritime Matters, Peter.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Yes, boy, it's been some time since I was able to get back to real maritime talks. I took the full month of May to deal specifically with the sinking of the HMBS Flamingo back in May 1980. So it's good to be back in maritime talks. And tell us about yourself, Peter. You were born in Nassau. Where did you grow up? Who were your friends, your parents? Give us a little bit of background on who is Mr. Peter MAURY.
Well, my father was Thomas MAURY, and my family had, like a lot of other Bahamians, in the Prohibition days, they got into the liquor business, and that was kind of my family's business growing up. Hospitality, they had restaurants and stuff like that. And when I went away to school, it was always my intention to, because I'd work on the weekends and for my dad and stuff like that, it was always my intention to be in, sort of a 5-day-a-week job.
Right.
Instead of working on the
doing
weekends.
business.
Yeah.
Right.
And
but you didn't like that?
no, I went to school, University of Maryland, for economics, and thought I was going to get into banking, and found out that that's just not my cup of tea.
You serious?
Yeah, I wasn't very. I needed something more active and be outside.
You're so simple, Peter, because I see tonight you pulled up here on a motorbike.
Yep.
I was looking for you to have an Explorer, I'm sure you have one, but I wasn't looking for you to be pulling up on a motorbike.
No, I have a truck and a scooter.
So impressed, man.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Maritime Matters, like I was saying. And what caused you to choose to engage in maritime generally? I mean, you went to college, you really wasn't into that.
I started out actually at the old NatWest Trust Corporation out in Cable Beach, and found out that I did not like, being inside and that whole, kind of lifestyle. And so I saw a job in the paper for, an opening at a marina. It was Hurricane Hole Marina.
Uh-huh.
And I spoke to my dad. I said, this is not
what I want to do.
Yeah, this is not going to work out for me, I think, in the banking. But I know, I've traveled the Bahamas all through my life thanks to my parents. Mm-hmm. And, I know this country backwards and forwards. I said I can help.
You traveled by sea or by air?
By sea.
By boat?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Spent a lot
okay.
of time in the Berry Islands.
So you knew all about navigation and all that
Exumas,
stuff
yes.
before you went to college?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
man.
Berry Islands, the Exumas, yeah, those are the two real popular spots for fishing and whatnot.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
Peter,
I
you
took sailing as a kid, you know.
right.
So.
Oh, you sail and you handle powerboats.
Well, at the time, I was in a junior sailing program, which was just sunfish. You know, I was
Right.
when I was a lot younger. Later on, I got into the power boats, and that's when
Sunfish is what? That's the size of the boat?
yeah, it's a type of boat. It's a back in those days, now a lot of the kids sail opties, where it's one person per boat, but
How does that do? Are you familiar with the Star class? That's a Derwent them one gold medal in?
Yeah.
So how is the Sunfish size wise compared to the Star class?
They probably would have started. Derwood would have started in something like a sunfish or a sailfish way back when.
Just like yeah.
I mean, we put two kids in it, and anywhere ages 8 to 14.
Okay.
And
they still do that today?
Yeah, they start them. The age groups are I think 8 to 14 in an opti, and then after that they can move up to a sunfish, laser, and eventually they get into the stars and some of the bigger boats, which are more complicated. They just have more sails and stuff like that.
And I recall I left the Defense Force for the port department. I didn't leave. They seconded me to the port department. I was deputy port controller. I don't know if you're familiar with Leon Flowers.
Yes.
Him and Patrick Musgrove. But Harvey Speeding and I were earmarked from the Defense Force. And we were actually sent there to take over the port from Mr. Leon Flowers because he was nearing 60, retirement, 65. He and Patrick Musgrove.
Right.
And we took over from those two. And I think about 2 years in, I was called to the marina that you Hurricane Hole Marina
Hurricane Hole, yeah.
to do a presentation.
Yes.
So this guy from tourism, Earl something.
Miller.
Earl Miller.
Yeah.
Earl got me and he said, man.
Yeah, he was our yacht person in tourism.
Yeah, he said, I want you to do a presentation about this yacht charters because people are asking me questions and I did it because I knew all about it.
Right.
I mean, it just came into play in '92. Mr. Leon Flowers.
Right.
He would have.
And I was just starting out. At Hurricane Hole.
So that's when I met you, and I always thought you were a good guy from back then. Still a good guy.
Yeah.
And I think you're trying to do a lot of things to keep the Bahamas on even keel, particularly with yachting and with marinas.
Yeah.
So I implore you and I trust that you will continue to go on. So let's talk about yacht chartering.
Well, that was one of the things, being Bahamian, I grew up in the Bahamas. I knew all about the water just as you would have as RBDF. And, I started to see a whole nother side of this industry, and it's such a supportive industry, pure supportive, I should say, with, boats needing everything from, provisioners to mechanics to, dog walkers to all kinds of things. So
That's right.
I said, man, this is really something. And then as I learned more about it, I found out, the Caribbean was way ahead of us. I mean, they still are. They're.
You mean with yacht chartering?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they were.
Oh yeah.
You mean the Eastern Caribbean or Jamaica, Cayman Islands?
No, not Cayman and Jamaica. There's a lot of boats flagged in Jamaica.
St. Kitts, Antigua.
Yeah,
they're ahead of us with the amount of charters going on in those areas, or they ahead of us with the administrative
with boats
side?
and mainly with boats and infrastructure. And when I say infrastructure,
marinas.
It's not just the marinas. It's all the things around it, like survey agents and brokers and technicians. I mean, they have boat yards down there.
They would have those. Well, Trinidad would, yeah.
Yeah.
Barbados and okay, so Trinidad, yeah, they have a lot of yachts from way back.
Really high end, St. Bart's, St. Kitts,
St. Bart's,
all those places have really high end restaurants and resorts and stuff for these. The Nikki beaches and stuff like that for the.
So we playing catch up basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So how far are we from them now? Are we close to them? Are we still far away?
I think we probably get 1/3 of the boats that they do currently. They're still well. I mean, Antigua still has the largest charter show in the world.
Well, that's charter show as compared to charters being conducted.
Right.
Antigua, I don't think is on par with us with charters being conducted.
Not individually, but in the Caribbean in general.
Yeah, they have a very good administration for yachts.
Yes.
They have a good administration in Cayman for yachts.
Right.
The Bahamas never focused on yachts.
Right.
I think I can tell you why, because I worked with the BMA for 3 years as the key technical person.
Right.
And Mrs. Irma Raming, she's now Mackey. Irma Raming Mackey. She was trying for years to get the BMA to pay some attention to forming a yacht register.
Yes.
Right? And she keep meeting closed doors. And eventually the BMA decided, okay, we're going to do it. I don't think in her time, because she's retired, I'm retired, but the BMA was always reluctant. And I know why. Because you got to remember the BMA was trying to clean up their act as far as detentions were concerned.
Right.
And any vessel that carries our flag, whether it's a solar ship or a non-solar ship or a small mailboat, once they go away and get detained, that's a mark against our flag.
Yes.
So we're number one with cruise ships. And if that mark they start to target ships under the flag, and they would inspect them more often than others, and the cruise ships wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
So the Bahamas was really fighting hard to kind of clean up its, and they did a very good job cleaning up its act, the Bahamas Maritime Authority.
I agree.
Because they became part of the qual ships in the U.S., which means you have quality ships under your flag, so we wouldn't even inspect you.
Right.
And all the rest of that good stuff. But in a flip, that could all change.
Exactly.
And it could change with yachts.
And exactly. And that's that's what's so I mean, just to speak to the BMA, they've done a tremendous job. I mean, their registry's all for the boats, everything is online. It's very simple for the commercial cruise ships and stuff like that. So I think it's great because, in fact, I sit on the National Policy Committee, and one of the things obviously I'm advocating on there is a private limited yacht registry charter. So the BMA has made some steps in that way,
but we have one in the Port Department. Why would we want another one?
Because I think to be honest, I think the one in the Port Department is very limited. I'm talking about an all-encompassing flag. Sort of right now, Jamaica, Marshall Islands, and Cayman are the leading flags in the Bahamas. All the boats,
Caribbean,
and Caribbean. So all the boats that charter in this hemisphere, the majority of them are under those flags. They pay their business license to those countries. They pay their registry to those countries. Their surveys are done through usually an agent of those countries.
Yeah, but that's kind of peanuts. I mean, the reality in yachting for charter yachts, for non-Bahamian owned yachts, is that they want an avenue to be able to do a charter in the Bahamas.
That's right.
That's what happened in '92 when they created this foreign charter yacht rules.
Right.
Right? That's the only way they could have come in here and do a charter. Right. Otherwise, they would be violating the laws of the Bahamas. The Boat Registration Act required that any vessel that applies for hire in this country must be registered under the Boat Registration Act.
Correct.
And when you're going to register a boat under the Boat Registration Act, first of all, it got to be 100% Bahamian owned. It has to be, you pay for customs duty. You have to be, the beneficial owners got to be Bahamians.
Right.
So those yachts would never be able to qualify.
Well, under the limited yacht charter flag, they would be. And that was what.
But why would you want them qualified to compete with Bahamians?
Okay, so when these boats come to the Bahamas, they're not going to compete with Bahamians. I mean, how many Bahamian, charter yachts do we have?
Well, we may not have many now, but what happens in 5 years' time when people like myself and maybe yourself decide to group with a couple of people and buy one or two high-end yachts to charter?
Okay, so then my whole point was, if we make it an all-encompassing, registry, then why wouldn't we include Bahamians and give them the same benefits, the exact same benefits?
But Bahamians get the benefits under the Boat Registration Act. I as a Bahamian, don't need to go on a yacht registry to get benefits. I could own a yacht in the Bahamas, register it under the Boat Registration Act,
right,
and charter at will, and I can solicit locally.
But not
the other guy can't do that.
That's true.
Unless he's violating the law.
That's true. And that is and Bahamians can't solicit those boats locally either.
No, nobody can because they're not the rules
Right.
It's only to give them an opportunity to charter in the Bahamas.
So
They got to pay the fees
Right.
for every single charter.
Right.
They got to register that charter before it begins.
Right.
Well, they don't have to, but they should. They're required by law to do that.
Yes.
And when I was the deputy port controller, Peter, I started a program where my good friend God Stubbs, God bless his soul, God and I started to go around to the marinas,
Right.
get a list on a daily basis of all of your. I had this book called a CDI Guide. Now I don't know if it still exists, but it gave you the name of every yacht that charters in the Florida area.
Right.
Right? And so I would check those yachts, the names of those vessels against the CDI guide, just to see if any yachts coming in that should be paying us that 4%.
Right.
Right? And I was about to get together with the marshals in the Land and Sea Park.
Right.
Right? To find out if they could make a list of every vessel they went to or they seen during that day and send it to me on a daily basis. And I only need to catch one.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, you don't even need to do that anymore. You know,
Well,
with the way that I mean, on marine traffic, you can easily sit there from your laptop right here and track every boat and see what they're doing.
If they have one, they're
well, I think there's a simple.
most
way.
of them do, yeah. Most of
I
them have it on.
I mean, at the level we're talking about, they do have it on.
They will.
And you know they have to have
I
it
agree.
on.
I agree.
There's not. I mean, for the ones that can turn it off, they have no liability. So they're very. In those cases, it's a very small, operation. I'm talking about probably 20 meter and above.
Well, if I had that when I was deputy port controller,
Right.
nobody would have been able to charter here.
Well, this is a tool that I've offered to we can create an algorithm that tracks every boat as they come into the country and as they exit the country.
So why isn't the port department doing that?
I don't know. As the ABM,
I was the deputy port controller, and I would have been doing that.
Well, I can tell you one of the other things we did as the ABM. We put the online. We put the payment of charter fees online. So in 2019, when they collected, whatever it was, $500,000 in charter fees, in 2021 we collected $3 million because now it became so easy for these yachts, to pay the charter fees before they even left the dock. So now it's called CZ Pass. You can look it up. You pay your charter fee. The ABM gets nothing out of it. It's just a portal that goes directly to the Treasury. We give the Ministry of Finance every Friday. They get a complete list of all the charters. They can download the contracts, and they get a submittal of wire. So
you're doing this.
Yes. The ABM
So Peter,
is doing this
if
now.
you're doing this, that means the port department must have failed. Why aren't the port department doing this?
They don't have it. I don't know. They don't have it electronically, but the port department you can still go in there and pay that way.
Yeah, but I'm saying they failed. Because if they collected, you say how much they collected in 2019?
I have to go. Yeah, I think it was like just over $500,000.
Over $500,000, and in 2021,
yeah,
it was over $3 million.
It's $3 million. Yeah, about $3 million.
And
every week
you have no ability to enforce the stuff.
Well, that was the next step. All of this.
Well, what I'm saying is the port department already have the ability to enforce it. They have the ability. They have the manpower. They just need the port controller.
Well, we've asked that we're very limited. We get no government support as far as financially. So our portal, we pay out of our own dues. We make nothing out of it, but it's convenient to the boats coming to the country, right? So the idea would be to build a second part to this, which is then, that's when you get into the algorithms, the tracking, which obviously becomes technically a whole bigger, operation and a lot more expensive.
I agree, and you're doing very well. But my thing is, what the hell is going on with the port department? We have a port controller who's mandated by the Boat Registration Act and by the charter yacht rules to ensure that 4% is collected prior to a charter being done. Correct. He has a team. He has a staff of over 60 people? The port department is not hurting for people. Right? But in addition to that, the Port Authority Board, who is the authority under that foreign yacht charter rules, has a chairman and has members. And they should be ensuring that the port controller is collecting this money. And the minister has an obligation under the Boat Registration Act, the Minister of Transport,
Right.
to ensure that this is government revenue.
Right.
So if the minister is not putting the pressure on the chairman and the port controller, then who's going to do it?
Well, this is why we've, as the ABM, we've offered to assist so that we don't have to have these huge added taxes, which is what we're, as the marina operators, we got 6 new marinas coming online. You saw Hurricane Hole just open. We got world-class marinas in this country.
I agree. But Peter, these authoritative parties that are basically charged to do these things by law has to get off their fat backsides and get the job done. Why should it be you? Why should it be me? We're not mandated. You'll never find us in any act. You'll never find us in the rules. So how can it come to us? Because they are failing.
Right.
And if they are failing, they need to check themselves and get this thing sorted out. And everything that you are doing, and thank God you're doing it, they need to now do.
Well, we're happy to, like I said, we're happy to be a part of it. And we want it to be a public-private relationship that we can all live with, And that's part of why I'm here. I mean, we want to see the infrastructure around this industry grow. There's so much value in having the yachts in the country, as you've seen in some of the information I've given you. I mean, they spend money in not just in the marinas, but also in transportation, private flight, restaurants, casinos, hotel rooms, everything else. And this affects a lot of Bahamians, but particularly in the out islands. This becomes, this is street economics. I mean, this goes directly from the yacht to the people on the street. There's no filtering through, a giant resort or, social services or anything else.
Especially on the family islands. Like
That's right. I mean, if there's a person there that has a grocery store and some yacht walks in there and says, hey, we need all of this, they get it. And, it goes directly on board. Transportation's the same thing. You'll see in a lot of what we were doing in the pandemic was facilitating all of the movements of all of these parts to get, parts in and whatever, foodstuffs and liquor and get, people as far as guests, tested and all of these things to make sure this business kept rolling. Because I can tell you, I mean, I had a lady if she was in Long Island, she was a taxi driver. She goes, thank God for what you guys are doing. She goes, I don't have any people in my car because at that time we couldn't carry anybody. She goes, but I'm running up and down with every grocery store I can find to buy groceries and bring them to this boat so that she could put it on the dock. I mean, the takeout delivery guy here, he had 30 taxi drivers employed, and he said most of them are going to the marinas delivering, foodstuffs.
Yes, a lot engaged. A lot of these people, these yachts, as you know, are very expensive. To build, to maintain. They pay their crew, and they charter for what, about $1,000 a foot per yacht.
Yep.
When they do a charter, if they're 70 feet long, the charter is going to be more than $70,000 a week.
That's right.
If they are 200 feet long, the charter is going to be. I mean, Jay-Z and them have a 450-foot yacht. A charter's for what? $4 million a week. A week.
Right.
So money is there. And they don't have a problem spending money in the community. They don't have a problem. And they want to come to the most beautiful waters in the world. I don't know. I know you know the Land and Sea Park probably better than I do. I know it pretty good. You probably know it better than I do if you was frequenting those areas as a little boy. But they had this vessel here called the Carpe Diem. It was a mothership, and it had like 8 catamarans.
Right.
Used to put down. Okay, well, I was the first captain of the Carpe Diem.
I remember that boat.
Right? And we went to the Exumas every week. And that's the first time I really got an in-depth look at that Land and Sea Park. Peter, I've been round and round. I was a seagoing officer for 13 years.
Right.
There's nowhere in the Bahamas, no key I didn't search, no rock I didn't nine-card. I know where everything is in the Bahamas. I can tell you, right? And I have never in my wildest dreams thought that the land in Sea Park was that beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought places like the Ragged Island chain, because, you know, you go on the beach and you're only footprints.
Right.
Nurse Key and Flamingo Key and Water Key and Raccoon Key, and those are keys that we always searched.
Right.
And I'm searching and I'm just freaking out. But when I went to that land in Sea Park, and I realized how beautiful this place is, I was told, I had a friend named Peter Patton. He was a captain of a yacht as well. He passed about a year ago.
Yeah.
God bless his soul. He and I graduated from school together. And Peter used to tell me about how the crawfish and conch was dying of old age in the land in Sea Park. And the wardens wouldn't let them get near them.
Yeah.
Right? And I was laughed at him. But that land in Sea Park is a treasure. I mean, that was what, from 1958?
Yeah.
From 1958. So why wouldn't these exclusive, spectacular yachts, they're not going to get a land in Sea Park nowhere else in the Caribbean.
Right.
Bar none. Nowhere in Europe. Nowhere in the world you will get a land in Sea Park.
Right.
So ain't nobody need to tell me that those yachts want to charter in the land in Sea Park. Right?
Right.
We just need to get our act together. We, the Bahamas, especially these government representatives who by law are mandated and obligated to get these things in order.
Right.
Somebody got to do something with them. It's just lousy, slack nonsense.
Yeah. So that's not that's not what I'm here for. I mean, I'm obviously representing more of the private sector, but in my own respect, I mean, I can tell you from a marina standpoint, just what you were saying, I spent a lot of time in the pandemic going to Florida, speaking to the charter brokers and teaching them or telling them, like, these are all the things you need to do to get your guests and the boats here. And, the Caribbean was basically shut down. So we got a whole lot of business coming into the Bahamas.
That's right.
And I think that was a big part of the revenue that was coming in for a lot of people, especially in the out islands. But the one thing I noticed in going to these broker shows is all of these brokers are selling these yachts to come to the Bahamas. In our own laws, a Bahamian can't own a business and sell, the services of that yacht within the Bahamas, which to me makes no sense, because I may be the marina operator and I have a boat there. You have an office, a brokerage office in my marina, right? Your client would be all of these big hotels and all of these people coming in. We could establish our own, just like how they have it in the Caribbean, the Med, and everywhere else. We have these brokers, that sell basically, an experience in the Bahamas, and who better to sell that than a Bahamian that lives here?
So would it be a situation where we consider giving exclusivity to Bahamians to sell
for local
charters that are going to be done in the Bahamas?
I would say, I wouldn't say exclusive as far as the charters being allowed to be done. I think one of the ways to amend the act is allow Bahamian companies to solicit charters within the Bahamas. That's always been on the law, and you mentioned it early.
Yeah. The problem is the Boat Registration Act.
Well, this is why,
It says no boat shall ply for hire within the waters of the Bahamas unless and until it is registered under the Boat Registration Act. And they have a board that wants to make sure before they give you that registration, it's solely beneficially Bahamian owned 100%.
But if you have
I understand what you're saying. Sorry, go ahead.
If you have a mega yacht, right, but you have a Bahamian with company with employees that's also benefiting from this, is it not a decent part of the industry? I mean, not every Bahamian is going to be able to buy a boat, right? It's going to be very few and far between. But there's going to be a lot more Bahamians that can open a brokerage business, or if we ever establish a private limited yacht charter flag, there's a lot more Bahamians. I mean,
Yeah, the flag is irrelevant. I'm feeling what you're saying.
I don't think so, because you think about it, okay? So right now, the majority of boats that charter in the Bahamas, there's a big majority, I shouldn't say, a lot of them anyway are Jamaican flag. Let's say it's 1,000 boats that visit our country. If they're establishing and I know of one in particular. He has a Jamaican corporation. His mortgage is with a Jamaican bank, and his flag is with Jamaica. But yet that boat does its charters in the Bahamas, so it pays its fees in the Bahamas, yes, and it buys all of its consumables in the Bahamas, but it still pays its fees to the flag state. That means,
well, it doesn't pay its fees to the flag state. It pays its registration
registration fees
to the flag. Registration is peanuts compared to how much you're going to make off that charter fee.
I mean, it's 10,000. You know, you get 1,000 yachts at $10,000 a pop. That's $10 million a year, right?
Yeah, but how much are you going to make? How much are you going to make?
But the thing is, if you look to get the duty from that, you'll never get it because you know how a flag of convenience works, right? So they'll always register as Marshall Islands or Cayman or somewhere else, right? But just think, all of that could be paid to the Bahamas year after year.
Well, we're saying all of that, right, Pete? And I'm hearing you. Nobody charges $10,000 to register a yacht. They're not charging that.
Well,
kind of
I'm
money,
talking about
right?
in total.
Cruise ships pay like $25,000 a year,
Yeah,
and they call it annual fees.
Yeah, and
to be on the register.
But you have to set up the corporation. You have the mortgage. If they set up their mortgage with a local financial institution, and then you have the actual registration fee for the port. I mean, I'm just rounding it. At about, say it's $10,000 a year. I mean,
well, that's if you want to do yacht register. And the Bahamas already engaged yacht registering,
Yeah, but
you know that.
The problem with the yacht registering now is it's not competitive with any other flag.
Why not?
Because ours is first of all, it's a red flag. You have to have
red ensign, yeah.
Yeah, it's a red ensign. And
you know why?
I understand why.
They don't want detentions.
I understand that. But,
Yeah,
but
it's really not pound for pound as attractive. I agree with you. It's not attractive. They didn't want it to be attractive. They don't care for yachts.
I know that, but
right, and I think it's wrong. I'm with you on this.
Well, I go to the boat shows, and you don't see any Bahamian flags hanging.
They used to pay for me to come to the boat shows.
Well, and they should.
And put me in a hotel and all the rest of that. And they were tough. I mean, this is back in.
We should have customs there, immigration there, the port there. They should all be there because the Ministry of Tourism and all the marinas are there. And we're telling, the funniest thing is during the pandemic, when we did the first boat show, it was Fort Lauderdale, and that was 2020, the end of 2020, and it was funny because Costa Rica was there, and they came to the Bahamas booth, and everybody was watching what we did because at that point the Caribbean was still closed, and I even heard some of the Caribbean countries going, man, the Bahamas got it right, because we had boats moving through the country when nothing else was happening. We still had commerce, and that was what was important.
Yeah, that's geographical advantage more so than the fact that we have a register. We don't have a register. The thing with the registers, we have some 1,600 ships on our register, and hardly any of them come in the Bahamas.
I understand that, but think about all the boats in the Caribbean. You probably got 3,000 yachts.
You think?
Oh yeah,
3,000.
Oh yeah, go on marine traffic. If you looked at
there's a
traffic
lot,
2 years ago, you would have seen all the pink boats were in the Bahamas. Now
but these are pleasure and charter yachts, though. These are not all charter yachts, eh?
Well, yes, pleasure and charter yachts. Yeah.
And I think the majority of them would be pleasure yachts.
No, not anything over anything over 20 meters these days, charters.
Oh, really?
Yes. You know how expensive these boats are?
Yeah. They're not.
It's funny. I heard
they're not regular yachts. I know.
Well, exactly. And I heard. I mean, they have full-time crews. They pay dockage and water to the marinas. I mean, fuel. We'll look at what fuel costs. But I heard the other day somebody, I think it was in government, said that the owners are making all this money chartering the Bahamas. If they looked at the expense, typically the USSA did a study on a yacht, 150-foot yacht costs about $6 million a year in budget to run.
Right.
They can't do enough charters to cover that $6 million.
They can't?
No.
How much? 100-foot yacht?
Yeah, generally, 150. Generally,
150-foot yacht. So they get like $200,000 a week when they're on that charter.
When they're on charter. Right. How many charters do they do though?
You only got 52 weeks.
They don't do 52.
So you might do 20.
They're lucky if they do 20.
You'd be lucky if you do 20.
That's right.
Yeah. So
I
see what you're saying.
It still leaves them at a loss.
But most of them are just really using that money to help
That's
because
right.
most of them are
It's
rich.
to diver-
Most of them are wealthy
Well,
people.
it's owned by corporations and stuff, but they use it to
Wealthy corporations.
to defer expenses. That's what
Yeah,
that's what it
call
is.
it tax
right?
write-off.
So, if they can, if it costs you $6 million to use that boat, and you can write off half of it, say $3 million, but you're still out of pocket $3 million, but you get the benefit, of the boat, which I mean, you can't put a price on recreation, right? So that guy that gets to come to his boat in the Bahamas, whatever, 4 or 5 weeks out of the year. The rest of the time the boat's, waiting for charters or moving around. It's it's just a way for them to defer their expenses. That's all it is. But in the meantime, wherever that boat is, it's a consumer. The crews are consumers. The boat's a consumer. I mean, my bill for electricity this month was $67,000.
That's right. And and that's their bill.
Well, the office doesn't cost that to run. It's all
of course,
these boats plugged
it's the boats. It's a marina, and then that's money going in our kitty. And it's the same thing for water and fuel and
Bahamas sold $80 million worth of fuel last year.
They got Bahamians coming to take care of them, clean them up.
That's exactly right. We have Bahamian captains and Bahamian crew members.
That's right. I'm so impressed
because of and this was always something I saw early on. I said I have a 500-ton license, but the opportunity. We have more captains than we have boats available for right now in the Bahamas, Bahamian boats.
Wow.
So how do we get these captains and these guys that are coming out of school with a maritime background? How do we get them into jobs in their fields? Well, there's one simple way. We don't chase them out with a high tax. We make it reasonable. We make it a competitive market that Bahamians can get into. The problem is the number of Bahamians that are in the actual boat owning business are very few. There's a lot more Bahamians. There's in the marinas and
working
captains, bottom cleaners, boat washers, carpet cleaners, you name it. I mean, I got a list of 30 or 40 positions that the girls in my office are constantly calling.
Well, I agree with you, Peter, and not only that. I mean, looking back at the question of Bahamian brokers having.
And surveyors.
The opportunity. Yeah. Well, surveyors that's my area. We'll talk about that tomorrow, right?
I know.
but the Bahamian brokers, because I found out while I was at the port department as a deputy port controller that some of the Florida brokers were collecting the 4%, but not passing it on to the port department.
Absolutely.
Right? And people came to me with that. Other brokers came to me and told me, I can tell you this. But of course, I couldn't push that issue because it was what it was.
Yeah.
But I am feeling you when you say locally in the Bahamas, we should be able to have brokers that can go into the hotels and actually book charters for mega yachts, super yachts, because it's a different neck of the woods.
And the commissions on those boats are can net somebody a very high salary. We already have a Bahamas Yacht Brokers Association, which is a very small group of Bahamian businesses right now.
What's the commission like on a yacht broker booking of
10%?
Oh, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
Compared to the amount of money these charters cost.
Yeah, I mean, if it's $100,000 charter, a Bahamian can earn $10,000.
I could be a broker yesterday.
Well, there you go. That's my point.
Yeah, no, I think that
and then
if you take the right approach,
that's valuable, and then you have the business license expense, the office expense and stuff.
What's valuable?
The commissions.
Okay. The commissions are valuable. Yeah, because
just like
it's your income.
A real estate broker. But the biggest thing is these are opportunities that a lot of Bahamians don't necessarily have.
We need to find the right avenue, Peter.
Well, this is why I think bringing other people into the industry helps. Not only does it help, jobs, but it also helps the yacht industry, because if you look at, you go to the Med or the Caribbean where these, yacht centers are, they have multiple brokerage offices. They have multiple, yacht managers, all of these things,
So this is happening elsewhere where local people can book
they have
a foreign flag or non-localized vessel?
In the Caribbean, yacht charters are 0 rated. This is our closest competitor. 400 miles away, right? 500 miles.
But nobody charges 4% fees in the Caribbean other than us.
That's exactly right. It's zero rated. Nobody charges.
There are no fees, so you don't. But do they have
the value to them is that boat being there and spending money and supporting the local businesses, the restaurants, the hotels.
So they don't have a charter yacht rules. They just actually, even though they're not registered locally, they allow them to just do charters in that country.
Fact that once they check into the country, they can, whether it's BVI, USVI, Antigua,
they can operate locally, domestically.
Yes, they can sell their charters. In fact, they have offices in some of the major marinas down in the Caribbean, and just like they do in the Med, just like they do in Florida. You know, I mean, it's a big business. It's a huge business. You know.
I think we can revisit it. I mean, obviously we got more waters than all those. The Bahamas is like the Eastern Caribbean alone, as you know.
I agree, and
so we got the waters,
and this is why it's so important. You know, our executive director always says, "Why you would go beyond the Bahamas is beyond us."
Don't make any sense. We have to make it feasible.
60%, 65% of the boats go through the Bahamas to the Caribbean to do their seasons there.
Yeah,
so
we got to address that. But that localized brokerage, I'm feeling that more. I'm feeling it, Peter.
I'm telling you.
I think that it creates a big opportunity.
Well, you have very few. We have very few yachts, Bahamian yachts, that are at that level. I mean, I've seen it when I ran Atlantis. We got people that come in there, you know, a high roller. He goes, listen, I want to go to the beach on a 150-foot yacht. We got one in the marina.
You don't have a local one, that's for sure.
Well, exactly, but technically we can't solicit that.
Right.
So you got to give him a number for somebody else in
to bucket and throw out for him to come in. Yeah.
For him when he's standing right here in front of you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He could walk right up to you and say, Glenn, man, I won so much money last night. I want to.
But how we started out, how Mr. Flowers started out with that was just so that they can be able to come here.
Right.
So we migrated.
Because the market was just developing.
Right.
And we were, because I was there too. I was running Hurricane Hole. I remember we had a local captain. He was going to run a charter boat, but because he had an A-class Bahamian license, they wouldn't give him a charter registration. So I went to Earl.
Well, an A-class license is nothing.
I know that, but at the time, the owner of the boat wanted to keep the boat at Hurricane Hole. He wanted his own local captain that was there all the time. I had to go all the way to Earl DeVoe, who was the Minister of Transportation at the time, and get him to finally get the port to agree to give this boat a charter license so that the Bahamian captain could run it, which to me just blew my mind, right? And in talking to him, he said, something, and I didn't know the man from anybody. I couldn't believe he reacted so quickly. I was like, man, this is great. But one of the things he said to me that stuck with me, he goes, as you go through the Bahamas, and just what you said and just what I've seen, as beautiful as this country is, we should have marinas all through the country and connect all of our islands. And you know what? That's exactly what I did. I did it with the Association of Marinas. Because the truth is, they may start at Hurricane Hole back in those days and end up in Hybrid Key or, Exuma. Now, you look at the number of marinas coming online. I mean, Atlantis.
See, Association of Marinas is actually basically, you got Hybrid Key,
all the marinas.
You got Staniel Key Marina, you got Samson Key. They have a marina there?
But Samson closed.
They closed.
I heard that they're going to reopen.
And then you got Valentine.
You got Norman's Key now. They just reopened.
Is it a marina there?
Yeah. Absolutely, they got.
I know they did a lot of work on the land. I didn't know they actually had a marina also.
A very nice marina.
They got one of the prettiest beaches in the Bahamas.
That's right, and but with even you look at Abaco, they have some of like Sea Spray and some of the old marina members, Treasure Key, are all coming back online. But you got brand new
Sunsail and the moorings and they.
Exactly.
But Conch Marina.
But then you look at what's happening in the in the kind of the mega yacht marina side. You have a group in Abaco. They're open Montage, which is going to be a mega yacht marina.
Yeah, which part of Abaco is that?
I think it's up near Hopetown, somewhere up around there.
Okay.
But
one of the keys.
I saw the plans for it at the boat show.
Beautiful.
And the marina's already cut. I saw another one opening up in Eleuthera. I mean. We're getting
spreading around.
We're getting to that point where boats will be able to go from marina
Mega
to
yachts
marina
will be able
marina.
to,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so we have to build the infrastructure up around it.
I agree.
Which is
yeah.
all the
It's
services
pretty timely,
they
actually.
want.
Very timely.
And I think it offers good opportunity for Bahamians. I mean, when you look at the 1992 Boat Registration Act, it's for the Bahamian that owns the boat. But to me, it's economic suppression because there's such a tiny small part of Bahamians that own the boats. The real, to me, the real value in this industry is when the boats are here is to have more Bahamians involved in these boats from the shoreside services.
Well, the value is we need to go up on that tax. That fee, not tax. It's a fee. And at 4%, that's peanuts. We need to carry it up to 15, 20, like in Europe.
Yeah, but if you do that, I mean, well, look at what they did. They did in Europe anything over 20 meters. They charged them. They have a 22% VAT, but last year they charged 22. The 22% was on 30% of the contract. So
But they don't have a land and sea park.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they still have boats cruising there. So a lot of these people just want to get off the boat and sit in the water.
Especially our water.
Well, exactly. But I mean, I don't think that at some point there's, we're talking about a 14% tax, whereas the Caribbean, which is only, a day's sail away for some of these yachts, is zero. So is the consumer, because it's not the yacht owner that pays it after all, is it?
No, it's the charterer.
It's the charterer.
And these charterers are wealthy people.
Right, and they can go to St.
So
Bart's, they can go to these other places.
They're not going to go to St. Bart's where they wouldn't have a land and sea park if they want to go in the land and sea park. We know we have it.
I understand that,
right?
But,
we
but
know
I
we have it.
I don't think that is going to be entirely the reason that
we may have
keep
less
these
vessels,
boats.
but I think eventually it will be established that if you want to do a charter in the Bahamas, you got to pay the piper. I mean, it's only 10% of 15% of what you're charging your people. Just tag that onto the fee.
15% on top.
Yeah, 15%.
So if it's a $100,000 charter, you're going to pay another $15,000 on top of that.
Yeah.
Plus, don't forget about the $30,000 APA.
What's the 30,000
Advanced
APA?
provision allowance. The advanced provision allowance typically is what the charterer will pay to the boat to go and buy dockage, groceries, flowers, fuel, and all of those things.
Yeah, but that's part of his charter. That's part of his charter.
Yeah, but all
charter
that money
fee.
is spent within the country.
Well, that part ain't nothing to do with us.
What do you mean?
The APA. That's nothing.
it is.
That's nothing to do with our fees. That's what I mean. It don't have nothing to do with that. These people can afford it, Peter.
I don't know.
These are people who have moolah.
I understand that, but at some
They have
point
money.
they're going to go. You know what? It's this additional fee is too much.
But it's really not unreasonable, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think the 4% was a laugh. That's what I think.
I think I think you could go up on the 4%. In fact, I would even go up on the 4%. To like I said, in the Caribbean. I mean, in the Med, which somebody says, well, we can charge 22%. They were paying 22% on 30% of the contract, right? Which effectively is 7%, right? In the Caribbean, it's 0%. In the Med, anything over 20 meters is 7%. In the Bahamas, we're going to go to 14%.
You come to the big dog. Let's go 15 to 20%. If you want to cruise the best waters in the world, you pay.
Well, I mean, there's people that would say it's far cheaper to go to the Pacific.
Yeah, and some would say I want to go to the
Pacific
Bahamas. I can afford it.
So what happens when they're wrong? Do we get a?
Then who's wrong? Then who's wrong?
About the 14%.
You could always drop it.
But by then the damage is done. You realize I have to pay employees and bank every month. Can you imagine these new marinas that have been approved by the government coming on stream? All of a sudden you go. Well,
you think they come in on stream based on the 4% tax?
No, I think
fees?
they're coming on stream based on the possibility of business.
See, it's something like the cruise ship, Peter. You got more mega yachts and super yachts being built now than ever.
Right.
They need places to go.
I got that.
The cruise ships, same thing. They need places to go. They're getting much bigger, much fancier,
Right.
and then more people got money. So let's cash in on it.
Well,
I think we got to open the lines. Producer, could we open the lines up, please? Because I was forgetting. I thought only me and Peter. Open the lines. All right, guy, open it. I see nobody call. I see no call yet. It opened then. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Peter and I are having a beautiful time here. The lines are now open. The number to call is 326-8255. That's 326-8255 if you want to get in on this discussion. We got a lot more to talk about. So, yeah, you got to call quick if you want to catch us because time is rolling. Oh, 2 lines are lit. 3 or 1? Line 1.
Hello.
Line 1, you're on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Hi, g'day. Yeah, I see 2 different, fantastic show, by the way, and thanks for inviting Peter to give us all this information.
Thank you.
I see 2 different philosophies here. Peter is trying to get the business into the Bahamas, right, by not taxing it, right? But you want to go and tax the hell out of the yachts, right? So they run away, and it's. I mean, isn't there a way of telling if you shock the yacht captains, and these are American citizens, right? They hate taxes, right?
Really?
Yeah, man, they absolutely hate it. They'll do it. They'll do it just because they feel they're being gouged. You know what I mean?
Let me just.
They'll go down to the British Virgin Islands or St. Bart's just because they feel as if they're being, the Bahamian government is trying to gouge them. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. I understand you quite clearly, but let me just throw in there while you're on the line. We in the Bahamas, when we introduced VAT at 7.5%, that was a shocker to all Bahamians. And it went up to 12%. Now it's down to 10%. Do you know that a local Bahamian owning a yacht and doing a charter pays 10% on that charter? VAT to the government?
Okay.
So why is it that the foreigner coming here doing charter cannot pay a 15% fee, which is higher than the 10%?
Yeah, but I think Peter, this private label charter thing, limited charter, would put the Bahamian and the foreigners on an even keel, right?
But they shouldn't be. I think the Bahamians should have the advantage. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
But if it were a brokerage business.
But what we're talking about is the effect of taxes like the cruising permit. If you speak to Richard Trico, right, the ex-manager of the boating division in Florida, right, for many years, he's an expert. I mean, he will tell you, right, that when they increased or they put the cruising permit fee in, like $150, $300, right, something like 60% of yachts did not come here anymore, for a good period.
Well, that's fine. I mean, they had a shock and they made the adjustment. But my thing is, why should a Bahamian pay 10% and a foreign yacht is only paying 4%? That maths just does not add up, sir.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I know.
listen
But
to
I
this.
think, this is why I wanted to call in, and I wanted to ask you or Peter if you could meet with the Prime Minister or the Minister of Transport, right? And he would listen. Okay, what are the 5 things you would ask him to do? Let's say you have a dinner party with the Prime Minister, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted to get his thinking right for the Bahamas regarding maritime. What were the 5 things that Peter would ask him to do, right, to preserve the maritime industry, to include all the Bahamians and make the Bahamians rich,
Well, I'm gonna answer your question right now. So what we're advocating is Bahamians being able to work in yacht brokerage to sell the charters in the Bahamas, but not only that, under the private yacht registry, a Bahamian could also register their boat. So if it was, say, 5%, the Bahamian would pay the 5% on the actual charter, but allow them some type of, and I don't know how you do it, incentivization to tax incentive, where, that, because there's far more value to that boat spending the money in the country. So it's,
Correct.
When we went to the private yacht registry, it wasn't to, it wasn't for the boat with 20 people on it and all of that stuff. It's not an excursion business. It wasn't the dive boats.
Well, they can't carry more than 12 passengers.
No. I'm talking about like the excursion boats and the dive boats.
Excursion boats. You mean like the mail boats?
No, the boats,
Excursion boats.
like the ones that go to the out islands to do tours and stuff like that. Then you got the dive boats that'll have 20 people on them and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. How
You know
much
that's a passenger boat,
Right,
right?
right.
The private registry, if we created it, would allow Bahamians to compete on an equal. In fact, what we asked was that there be a discounted VAT for the Bahamian that buys that 80-foot boat and puts it into charter and registers it under our flag.
So,
It becomes
so,
a
so we're gonna reduce the VAT for the Bahamian who buys a
No,
big yacht.
it's just a fee. It becomes a
Well,
port fee.
it's not a fee if he's a Bahamian, he has to pay VAT like all other Bahamians. It's the same thing with the people with the homes that are doing Airbnb and whatnot. I assume they got to pay VAT when they make an income. VAT is an income tax.
I understand that.
You pay VAT on anything you sell.
Right. Well, value added. But what I'm saying is under the yacht registry, right, which is what other countries are doing, private limited yacht charter, where they can only do so many, and it's a principal, charterer with the, owner or operator of the boat itself. Okay?
We got 20 minutes left, and the lines are all lit. I don't know. Do you know the scholar?
Well, thanks for answering that.
No, I don't.
I wish
But I
you
can-
luck, Peter, because I wish people would listen to you, because I think this sounds like a really great idea. You just got to get someone to sort of sit down in a room and really hash this out over a series of meetings and get it done.
Yeah.
The truth is, we don't have that many private yachts owned by Bahamians right now.
That's true, and that is so true.
I can't understand it. I cannot understand why.
So who are they competing against? That's what I don't understand.
It's not a
Right.
competition.
So yeah, but
I'm just saying that if a Bahamian has to pay 10%.
Yeah, but there's no Bahamian doing it. That's my point.
Well, Bahamians are doing it every day on smaller boats. Every day, I got a friend named Carl Blades.
Yeah,
he has
I
a couple.
know
You know
him.
Carl,
Yeah, I
but
know
he's
Carl.
doing it every day and paying VAT.
But he's on tours.
Yes.
He's doing day tours. I'm talking about charters and on a bigger type boat that's going to pay a lot more.
Well, the
in
charters and
fees
everything should
everything
be
else.
they should
But-
be
but
applied.
then
They
if
should
he-
comply
if
with the
he-
same rules, though.
Yeah,
The
but
same
he takes
type.
multiple passengers out. If he does, if he registers under a single, typically what they call it is it's a private limited yacht charter, right? So typically there's one principal. If you were the principal, you could bring whoever you want. You could bring all of us in this room,
Right.
as your guest. But you are the one, whereas the other boats, even Carl, I know Carl, he'll take a couple people from here and a couple people there and take them snorkeling.
Right.
That's different. That is something else.
Okay, it's a different. But I'm just talking about the application of the VAT. That's why I brought that up. Caller, thank you so much for calling, sir. You've really
you.
brought some
Thank you very
flavor
much.
to the show. Take care of yourself. Okay.
Bye.
Now. Boy, we got all the lines lit, Peter. Maritime Matters. Hello. Oh,
Hello,
yes, sir.
Sam. How are you?
I'm in top shape, my friend. How are you?
I am excellent, man. I just had to chime into the conversation. Hello, Peter.
Hey, how are you?
Same guest. But I have a few points relative to what was discussed already. And the first point I'd like to make is that when we talk about the Bahamas and its ability to attract boating traffic. Most of the boats, like Glenn, you've already said, and you made this point, which is absolutely correct. Most of there's boat building and yacht building and size of yachts going up every day, increasing every day. And the vast majority of those yachts are being built to beeline right here to the Bahamas. Whether be like it or not, they're not interested in going down too far because of the cost of fuel and the like. Of course, in Baths and places like that, they get their annual traffic.
They'll get their share.
They get their share of traffic. And when you look at the prices that you're going to spend in St. Baths, I have lots and lots of yachting friends, and they tell me, you for one table for dinner, you can spend $60,000 just to get a table, right?
Wow.
And so,
But the
so they
consumables
get
are less. That's the advantage for them.
But they pay for those.
Yeah, but the consumables are less. You're talking about. Listen, you don't have to go to a $60,000 dinner, but if you go to the grocery store, in the liquor store, you can get everything you can in Europe, and it costs less than the Bahamas.
So it's a matter of choice for the restaurants.
But then again, Peter, Europe have their particular their yachting season, and it spans for particularly during the summer months, and they go there. Even though when I had an opportunity just in 2018 to go and visit Monaco and Cannes and all the boating meccas along the south of France and in Europe and whatnot. And I can tell you, the prices that we charge here for goods and services in this country is a drop in the bucket to compare to what you can pay in Europe for nothing, really and truly.
Yeah, but what does Europe have to? That's like talking about the price of tea in China.
Overcrowded.
That doesn't have anything to do with us. I'm talking about we are here, right? Our market is the Caribbean. To compare us to Europe means nothing. I mean, we might as well start talking about China and the South Pacific Sea. What does that have to do with the Bahamas when the Caribbean is 400 miles away?
We'll keep it at home in the Caribbean.
Yeah,
well, Florida,
400 miles away.
Yeah.
The point that I'm trying to make is that when I think about the 4% in relation to what these same exact yacht owners spend in other jurisdictions, I believe that there's opportunity to increase that 4% so that more of the monies that is spent in the Bahamas or in this region goes into either the public coffers, and into the hands of local Bahamians.
That's right. Which you can't do both. You can't do both. You got to pick one. Which one do you want? You want it to go to Bahamians in there on the street, or you want it to go into the public coffers?
I believe it can go. I believe both can benefit.
No, I don't believe
both can benefit, and I personally believe that really currently as it stands, the local Bahamian charterers, they are grossly disenfranchised by some of the rules that govern the charter boat industry, and they talk about it all. I talk to them all the time.
Okay, so then why don't we create a Bahamian flag that offers them the same advantage? That way, we don't chase out a huge portion of the yachts that are coming into the country, and we make it equal for Bahamians and give them the same advantage. This is my point. Why do we have to go and say, okay, well, we're going to kill the yacht industry that's here, right, foreign flag, and we're going to only have Bahamians, right? Well, we're left with, 20 boats?
No, Peter, don't get me wrong.
I'm not getting you wrong. I heard exactly what you said. So let's allow the private Bahamian to have the same advantage. Why does it have to be excluded to the point, and this is what I don't understand, to the government? They should say, all of these boats are going to go to the out islands, and guess what? We're going to give that's the thought process of too many people in government. They go, okay, well, we got to tax everybody else to death instead of bringing Bahamians up to the same level. And that's why I say it's economic suppression, because we're going to go, okay, well, we're going to chase the business out of the country, but the Bahamians, we'll keep taxing them to death. And at the end of the day, we suffer.
Look at it in a different light. Why we can't say, something? We're going to increase taxes, but we're going to give them that blow-away experience, and they're going to be so wild, not only by our physical product that we are offering, but by our service and and the way we manage the industry.
Because I'll tell you why.
If I go to on the LPIA, for example, and then when I go to Odyssey, there's a big difference in everything, and there's a big difference in the service. There's a big difference in the pricing. There's a big difference in everything. And if I go to New York, there's also a big difference. So why we can't say, but we're gonna up our game. We're gonna make provisions for Bahamians because all the natural resources and the things that people utilize, Bahamians have a stake in it, and we're also gonna create a mechanism where the government makes more money to be able to do more things, but also we're going to up our game, and we're going to make sure that we're the best little country in the whole yachting.
I'll tell you why. Because what you're listen. Okay, I heard
Herbie,
you talking.
we're gonna let Peter respond.
Listen, Herbie, let me talk to you a second.
Thank you for the call, my brother. We got 2 more callers on the line, so I'm gonna let Peter respond and just go to the other callers.
Thank you, Glenn.
The reason.
I'll wait till you respond.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the reason is because there's no one to fill that gap, right? You still have 10,000 Bahamians employed in this business. You still have 55 marinas with, an average of, say, 50 slips, right? So how are we going to fill those if these yachts do decide to leave? We don't have Bahamians with 150-foot yachts and 200-foot yachts. So how do we fill that gap? That's great what he's saying, but why not bring the average Bahamian yacht owner, which we know, and even somebody from Ministry of Finance told me this. They said, well, we ain't gonna bring the tax, the duty-free exemption, because I asked for it to be on all boats. Somebody said this to me, and this was, not recently. This was several years ago. They said, well, we're only going to give, if we give a duty exemption, it's only 20 meters and above. And I said, why 20 meters and above? Because no Bahamian owns a boat over 20 meters. That's what I was told. And I said, well, how does that make any sense? Why can't we have the same advantage of any other boat registering within the country? Give us that advantage. And then you'll find, maybe that same 50-foot boat owner goes and buys an 80-foot boat or a 100-foot boat. But when you tell us we got to pay, I know a Bahamian that had a 130-foot boat seized because the duty wasn't paid on it. But
after a certain size, they thought the duty was free.
Nope, not in this case.
When I was at the port, I had some meetings unless things change, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you, Customs seized the boat, and the boat was in a fair competition with any other 130 to 140 foot boat in the Bahamas.
What was the duty rate for that boat? You don't know.
It was 22%.
What did I?
Yep, it was 10% plus 12% VAT. They wanted 22% on the value of the boat.
Oh, they're starting to charge VAT on clearing boats now.
That's right, on top, yeah. So it's 20, even now at 10%, it's still 20% for a Bahamian. So you want to go buy a 150-foot boat and get in the business? Mm-hmm. Great, go do it. You're at a disadvantage right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because it's a $20 million boat, let's say a cheap 150-footer. You don't even get anything fancy.
No, 150-footer, you're talking 100 million if it's new.
That's right. So spend $20 million, you still got to pay 20% VAT on, as a Bahamian.
Yeah.
So anybody can go and flag their boat outside of the Bahamas as a flag of convenience and come in, and this is why I have a big problem with just add in more taxes on top of this, because the Bahamian is still at a disadvantage just to go and buy the boat.
You see what I was telling you about time? We got 10 minutes and we got 2 people on the line.
I can't believe it went by that fast.
I'm telling you. Maritime Matters, hello caller. Thank you for calling and holding on so long. My apology. That one's gone. Yeah, that was line 3. They was there too long. My goodness, I really apologize for line 3. Maritime Matters, good evening. Thank you for holding on. Wait, Peter, I guess you answered all the questions. That one's gone too. Okay, so caller, if you call back, I'll be happy to take your call right away. But Peter and I got a lot more to talk about, believe it or not, and we ain't got a lot more time. Peter, we down to 10 minutes.
All right.
Right? And we touched on most of the fees and why you think. And I'm hearing you, and I'm not agreeing with you fully. I'm agreeing with you fully on the fact that we should make a way for local brokers to be able to actually sell charters on foreign charter yachts from within the Bahamas.
I agree.
I'm agreeing with that, right? What I'm not agreeing on is the person paying for charter paying less than our VAT. Because you can't go to the U.S. and buy anything without paying their VAT.
Well, the legislation says they'll pay the 4% plus the 10%.
But that's what the legislation... No, they ain't say nothing but the 10%.
Yeah, it did.
Which legislation says under 10%? Unless they change the legislation. No, sir.
Where is it? Oh, right here. Here it is.
Oh, they changed that?
There it is.
Oh, it's 2022. Oh, they just changed that.
That's what I'm saying. This is the 2020. That's what I thought we were here talking about.
No, I didn't even know that, but that's...
Yeah.
I'm saying it need to go to 15%. But what this says,
why would we go to 15% when the rest of the
fees. I'm not without VAT. I can't see you charging VAT on a foreign yacht
Okay,
that
VAT
has to book from outside the country.
That's 10%.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be. They shouldn't have to pay VAT if they're booking from outside of the country.
Even using the government's example of the Met, they were paying 22% on 30% of the contract. So effectively, they're paying 7%, and that's in Europe.
Yeah, but
Greece, Italy,
they
and
have their own tax system. I'm talking about
that, but we're talking about one of the biggest charter markets in the world, the Med. And even they were only charging 7%. Croatia became so popular when the Med went to their 17% value-added tax, and Croatia then created a whole new market. We're at the same opportunity here. Because of the pandemic and the Caribbean being closed and the series of hurricanes before that, the Bahamas is now at that level where we are starting to see a bigger share of mega yachts in the Bahamas due to LiDAR mapping and the opportunity of infrastructure developing around the industry, more big marinas coming online, and instead of welcoming that in like other countries did, we're going to say, okay, well, we're going to slap this big tax on you, and if we're wrong, then what do we do?
Yeah,
charters are booked typically a year to 2 years in advance. So even if we make the mistake today, and by Christmas all the destinations change, it's going to take us 2 years to recover. In the meantime, I got employees, I got bank payments and everything else on the marina, and I guarantee I'm not the only one. I think one of the biggest marina finance companies in this region is housed in the Bahamas. So they're going to have a big problem with all the debt that's not paid.
My thing on this, Peter, is simple. These yachts want to charter in the Bahamas, and they should pay.
I agree. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but why?
And
why
they
does
should
it, why
pay
does it have to be
appropriately?
Yeah, but why does it have to be a 350% increase? Don't you think that's
350% increase?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Well, we're 4, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to go to 14.
So how to get 300?
That's not 350% increase.
No, sir.
Yes, it is.
300. Okay, 100% increase would be 6.
It's 4%.
4. So 100% would be 8.
14%.
So
100% would be 8. Would be
8.
4% goes from 4 to 8.
That's 100%.
Right. Then 8 to 12.
That's 200.
Well, you can go all you want. 300.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
I just do 4 into 12 is goes 3 times. Well, and then another.
You're the economics man.
I'm just saying.
I yield to you right on that. Okay, so you're going up a couple 100%.
250%.
It's a couple 100%.
But 250%, you're gonna buy that bottle of water right there. If I raise the price 250% because you're thirsty, you're gonna go somewhere else and get it. You say, no, I'm not paying that. The price is no longer reasonable to me for the advantage of what I receive.
Well, they can say that, but we can't say that.
I know, that's my point.
We can't say a thing. We got to pay the 10%.
I understand that.
And we were paying nothing all my life.
Yeah, but my point is, what do you mean? You mean
all my life I wasn't paying no VAT.
Oh, that, yeah.
All of a sudden now I got to take 10% on everything I buy.
But see, this is
that's not a good feeling. But I mean, it is what it is.
I agree, and we have to live with that because we can't go anywhere.
No,
the boats. All they got to do is pick up and go to the Caribbean.
They're not going to get. They're not going to get what they get here, though. We need to understand that proximity wise, they're not going to get it.
So here's another economic term for you. Mm-hmm. It's called the opportunity cost, right? The opportunity cost of what you get for what you pay, right? At some point is going to be the opportunity is not going to be worth what you're paying anymore. If you increase it that much and they have such an aversion to that increase, they're going to go, you know what, we're just going to go to the Caribbean.
But you're not really increasing it that much for these people who are doing these charters, Peter.
The tax you are.
Yeah, these people just got to be told, look, they apply tax, now you got to pay tax.
And remember, the owner doesn't care. He's going to.
That's my point.
He's going to put the boat wherever the charter business is.
Right.
So the guy that doesn't own the boat is the one paying for the charter.
Right. And that's the guy we're not hearing from, though.
Yeah, but those are the ones that don't own the boat. Remember that.
But we're not hearing from them.
I
now,
understand that.
we're hearing from the guys who own the boat. It's like, what is he making noise about? He's not the one paying this money. The guy who paying the money, I don't think have a problem with it. If he's told that there is tax being applied.
Okay, well, it's like a plane ticket, right? You don't own the plane, but you buy a ticket.
Right.
If your carrier that you say it's JetBlue is $300, trust me, there's a carrier here. They went up to $600. I was using them in the pandemic. They went up to over $600, and I went back to JetBlue and Bahamas Air.
I'm glad you said that. Let me tell you something about. I fly to Britain.
The reason being is because I was like, the convenience of that is no longer worth the additional payment I have to make. And this is the thing with the boats that are owned by these, big multi-million-dollar corporations. They're going to go, okay, well, it looks like all the business moved to, the Caribbean, so we're just going to move the boat there because everybody's going to fly in there, get all the things that they've always got in the past. They have an established charter market there.
Let me say something. I fly to England, London, usually once a year.
Right.
Prior to the pandemic. I haven't been for a while, right? I have a sister. Oh, hi, Ivani, Dr. Ivani Keith. She lives in London.
Right.
And she has 2 sons, so I try, spend some time up there. The first class ticket used to be about $4,000. You laugh. You know why you laugh?
Because I'd be flying at the back of the plane. That's why I laugh.
No. But it's not about 10,000.
Well, then I'd be on the wing. Then.
But even a regular coach ticket, right? I used to pay $800 to $1,000 round trip. That's now like $2,500, $3,000 round trip for coach.
Yeah, but I guarantee you.
But what I'm saying is, as time move on, people are still flying first class.
I understand that.
And that's a hell of a... They're paying like 3 times the same 300% you're talking about. But they're doing it.
Yeah, but there's people that were flying first class that no longer flying first class.
And there are people that were flying first class, no matter what it costs, they're going to fly first class. Because they can afford it.
Well, they got that kind of money.
Exactly. It's the same thing with these yachts.
We don't know that everybody...
It's the same thing with these yachts. These people have that kind of money, Peter.
No, I wouldn't assume... I wouldn't...
No, we know that. Come on. We know they got that kind of money to be chartering these yachts.
But you can't assume that they're going to be willing to pay that much.
But they're willing to pay for first class, would been up 300%.
Well, you don't know that, though.
Oh, yeah, we do.
You don't? How would
you know? Because it's still booked out. People are still paying for first class tickets.
The guy that had the private jet before that now has to pay more per hour for the private jet, and he's moved into first class.
Well, the private jets ain't going to be flying from here to London too much. I mean, that'll have to be a really big private jet.
Well, I mean, trust me. What was it before Lehman, went under? They had 8 private jets just sitting on the runway any one time. How many they got now?
I don't know 0. How many they get, but I know those first class tickets going to London are still booked.
You can't use that as a way to judge.
That's a very typical example of what people with money do.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean everybody with money is going to do that.
We don't need everybody to do it, but those flights are still booked.
Yes, we do.
No, those flights are still booked.
Marinas. You got 55 marinas. You got over... 1,000 slips that have to get filled.
Peter,
10,000 jobs. Are we going to gamble with
class tickets are still booked.
Oh well, you can say it all. I mean, I totally disagree with it, and I think Well,
we could agree to disagree on this one, right?
But I agree.
But the one that we need to, because we're out of time now.
I agree there should be an increase in fees, but I also agree there should be an advantage for the average Bahamian that gets into this industry, because they're not going to be the yacht owner.
I with you on that.
At the end of the day, that is a hard, cold fact. You might as we're not even in the same class because we're held back by our central bank system and everything else. We don't have the economics of scale here to compete in that category. So if that category leaves, there is no Bahamian to fill that spot. 0. So what happens then? That is my question. Because we still got 10,000 Bahamians that need to go to work every day.
We're going to find a way to readdress this, Peter. And I'm going to work with you on this.
I think there's a reasonable way, but I also think there's alternative ways that we could increase even more money on the spend. One is just the collection. I mean, we
need to get the government authorities off their backsides and do what they're mandated to do. That's what we need to do with that. The collection is that's a no-brainer.
I think
people are mandated to collect.
That's right.
And they're not doing it.
So let's not drive the cost of the tax up. Let's find. I still think we're at 50%. To be honest, I think we could collect this industry if we increase the industry. We could be doing $10 million a year just in fees from the $3 million we did last year. I honestly believe that.
I agree, especially if the people who are mandated to do it find themselves.
So the lazy solution is we just raise the tax. That to me.
No, that's part of the solution. Even if we wasn't having this issue, but even if we're not having this issue with collecting the fees, right? I feel like the 4% is just far too low.
Okay, so I agree with you on the 4%, but I think the 14% is like off the Richter scale. That's going to destroy the industry.
Well,
to me.
maybe it's a little sudden to spring it on. Maybe you could have taken baby steps toward it.
Well, certainly when they remember when customs, we talked about when they changed the cruising permit, right? We agreed to change the cruising permit value within the yacht industry, all the marine industry.
Yeah, I remember the cruising permit.
And it went from 300 to 600, and
Right.
we all got I was running Atlantis at the time. We all got an email on July 28th that the cruising permit was going from 300 to 600.
Wow.
And we all went, oh boy, this is going to be it.
It's gonna be bad, yeah.
July 1st, people came in and just went like nuts. And I mean, I can't even tell you, you've ruined my vacation to
Yes,
July 4th. It's one of the biggest holidays in the summer for the marina business. And within weeks, customs rolled it back and said, okay, we're going to go back. But since then, we've increased the cruising permit to $2,000 for some boats. But yet now, customs goes, okay, we're going to collect the $75 Transar. How does that make sense?
Yes, sir. But refresh out of time, Peter.
Sorry.
I don't know if there's anything you want to say before we actually close. My producer has given me an extra minute, I think. So, anything you want to say to anybody that you didn't have a chance to, because we were going, and we're gonna have to do another show. You know that.
And I think yeah, you know what, we can bring some of the other participants in this industry in here.
I agree.
Anything
you want to say though?
I just think there's so many, from the transportation. I know a lot of guys that got into the private transportation business because of this.
Because of this, yes.
Especially
during the COVID time, you did a super job.
And even a lot of personal deliveries and stuff. Services.
So let me say to the Bahamas, good night from Maritime Matters. Maritime Matters out.